Hi, Dr. Vikki Petersen here. I want to talk to you today about probiotics and something called prebiotics. I'll explain that in a moment. So we kind of all know what probiotics are. You know, they're the good guys and we think of them in our gut predominantly. But you might be interested to know that probiotics are there as a defense and a protection to you everywhere your body interfaces, or most of the places your body interfaces with the outside environment. So you have probiotics on your skin, you have probiotics in your mouth, you have probiotics in your lungs, you have probiotics in your urinary tract, and your gut, of course, and if you're a female, in your vagina as well. So these are all the places probiotics are located, not just the gut. And some common probiotic species are lactobacillus and bifidus, and then there's a bacteria called, it's often abbreviated to sacro B, that's S-A-C-R-O, then capital B, which is the abbreviation for Saccharomyces boulardii. And this particular bacteria is very, very strong in treating and preventing another big word, Clostridium difficile, which is abbreviated to C. diff. But anyway, this is an infection you can get, especially in the hospital, in nursing homes. People who are really debilitated can get C. diff, and it can be life-threatening. So Saccharomyces boulardii is something that is considered a probiotic, and it's, as I said, it's a bacteria, and it's very, very helpful as far as boosting your immune system. And so what do probiotics do? They defend you against a lot of different issues. There's been a lot of research showing that probiotics help with IBS and diarrhea, constipation, IBD, inflammatory bowel disease, also things like Crohn's disease and ulcerative colitis, urinary tract infections, women who have had urinary tract infections or vaginal infections, who tend to do a more natural approach or are familiar with the benefits of probiotics and having bacterial infections in that area of their body, but also gum disease. And remember I said probiotics are on the skin, so for eczema and acne. So probiotics do a whole host of things, and in addition to just taking them orally, and you want to, it's definitely a get what you pay for moment when you're buying a probiotic. You want to get it from a very reputable source. The culture has to be live when you get it, and it has to be live for the whole duration of how long the bottle is supposed to last. In other words, all the way through that expiration date. There should be a live bacterium to do its benefits. It should come from a human source. So there are definitely criteria that it has to fulfill. And so you want to make sure, again, you're getting it from a reputable source. So if you have a functional medicine doctor, we tend to know what those reputable sources are, because you don't want to waste your money on a probiotic that isn't efficacious, isn't strong, isn't robust, and isn't alive. But then what happens when you take it is these are live organisms. So it's the difference between you're planting a garden and you're throwing seeds on concrete versus throwing seeds on nice fertile soil. You want the fertile soil that's going to embrace these seeds and allow them to grow and proliferate and do all these healthful benefits for you. So you want to feed them, and that's called the prebiotics. So the prebiotics feed the probiotics. And so what are some of the things that best feed probiotics are fermented types of foods like kimchi and sauerkraut and fermented pickles and natto and tempeh. Tempeh, be careful if you're gluten sensitive. Make sure it's a gluten-free tempeh, which you can definitely get, but sometimes they have gluten in them. And so there's several fermented types of foods. Yogurt is one you always hear about, but yogurts can be really loaded with sugar. They can have very few live organisms. So maybe you're making your own yogurt, or you're getting one from a source that you know is very, very pure. But you want to make sure, again, that you're getting that robust numbers of good live bacteria. So your sauerkrauts and your kimchi, things that are not sweet, because the whole idea of fermentation is that these are not sweet foods, but they definitely are very alive with bacteria. So that's a source of prebiotics. But then there's another source that's fruits and vegetables, beans and legumes. And these are in the what's called the resistant starch category, meaning these are foods that aren't readily digested in your upper small intestine, but they get way down into your colon intact so they can feed your probiotics. And it's a long list. I'm going to look at my notes for a little bit here, but things like mushrooms and asparagus and artichokes and grapefruit, onions, garlic, green bananas, so not the ripe bananas the way you love to have them in your smoothie, but more on the green side, have resistant starch. Oats, make sure they're gluten-free if you're gluten-free. And that was it. That was my list. And another interesting aspect is cooked and cooled potatoes and rice. So the cooked and cooled is something you've done if you've made potato salad. So that's an easy one, and it really creates this high level of resistant starch. Cooked and cooled rice, that would be more of making a cold rice salad of some sort, but it's that cooking and cooling that tends to bring out that resistant starch. And so these are all, so there's a lot of foods you can consume that really, once again, remain intact, get way down in your colon, and feed your probiotics. I heard of an interesting research that said, what you eat, you tend to create the type of organisms in your gut, in your microbiome, that of course do well on those foods. So meaning if you're eating a lot of sweets and refined carbohydrates, you're going to sort of grow the bad bacteria. And so if you're transitioning into not feeding those bacteria you've been feeding, because now you're on a more healthful diet, don't be surprised about some gut changes as you're going through that transition. Of course, it's a good transition, so hang in there. Should you be somebody who starts taking a probiotic and feels worse, know one, it's important to go on a gradient. So start with maybe, 1 pill a day or every other day till your body is acclimated. But if you've done all that and you're still feeling a lot of gas or bloating or diarrhea, let your doctor know, because there's something about that formulation probably that just doesn't suit you. That's happened to me, so you're definitely not alone. Okay, what else did I want to tell you? I think that was it. So probiotics are great, generally speaking. Just remember you have to feed them, and that's where these prebiotics come in, and the fermented foods and all those fruits and vegetables and beans and legumes are in that category. So make sure your diet is rich in that, and you'll have not just a happy gut, but happy skin and lungs and urinary tract, because those probiotics really affect your body all over. So if you're having any issues with your health where you're just not as robustly healthy as you'd like to be, maybe you feel like your immune system is weak, or your energy is not good, then definitely reach out. That's why we're here. We can offer a consultation and just get an idea of what's really at the root of what's going on. And we do telemedicine here at the clinic, and so we can work with you long distance, but give us a call, 408-733-0400. We'll talk to you soon.